working with Byron Donalds as Florida governor. But we're gonna work really hard this upcoming 2 years, and I know that Byron is gonna hit the ground running. Byron is somebody who's coming in with a business mindset, just like President Donald Trump, who he has received his complete and total endorsement from. Let me tell you, President Trump doesn't just endorse anybody. He endorses common sense people who share his vision, who share his mindset. And one of the things I love about Byron, and I've been saying this for a long time, is that we need an education renaissance in our country. Because unfortunately, for too long, we've had education completely missing the mark. Students have graduated with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and then they can't find a job in the profession of the area where they study. That to me is missing the mark. So what Byron Donalds is doing, what he is prioritizing, is exactly what we need to do, not just in Florida, but in the entire country. We need to go back to getting students to learn trades, to learning things that actually will prepare them for the workforce. None of this woke theory stuff that they brainwash you with, and you can't do anything once you enter to the real world with. We need people who go there, who know how to use their hands, who know how to actually take a skill and provide a service that you and I, that we all care about. That is exactly what ABC is doing. So I want to thank ABC for being the premier organization that has helped, I'm telling you, thousands upon thousands of students. They have changed their lives. So round of applause to Associated Builders and Contractors. They have changed so many lives. And I will tell you, I worked for a general contractor for about 7 years, and we were members of ABC throughout that entire time. And I would see stories of how students came up, they got trained into the ABC Institute, and then later on they got really good paying jobs. And some of them even opened up their own businesses in plumbing, in roofing, in as electrical contractors. So you have changed people's lives. Thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Peter, for the work that you do. But we look at the statistics and we see that people want more technical vocational jobs. I was actually looking at the degrees and the enrollment numbers, and did you know that the number of degrees, the number of certifications for vocational education programs over the last 5 years has gone up about 5%, while enrollment in 4-year degrees and 2-year degrees has gone down by 4% for bachelor's degrees and 16% for associate's degrees. What does that tell you? That tells you that people want highly skilled jobs. And what better way to do it than within just 6 to 18 months, you come out already earning $90,000 a year with zero debt. It doesn't get much better than that, folks. So thank you, Governor Donalds, for prioritizing the need. There are people who create actual jobs that pay people really good salaries and are actually changing lives every single day. Guys, without further ado, our next governor, Byron Donalds.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Barrero, that was pretty good. Impassioned. First, everybody, thanks so much for being here. Before we get to that, ABC, thank you for your endorsement. Thank you for your endorsement. When I first got into the State House, this is a long time ago, almost 10 years ago. When I first got into the State House, one of the early things we started working on was vocational education and the trades. And then obviously, you know, with COVID and other issues picked up. And so I've not forgotten the work that we have to do in that part of our educational fabric here in Florida. And we are going to lead the way and get that job done and make sure that our young people have every pathway to be successful. I would be remiss if I didn't actually acknowledge some of the colleagues that we have in here from the state legislature right now. My good friend, known him a long time, Senator Brian Donalds is here with us. We have State Representative Chip LaMarca. And Chip, you're looking spry, Chip. You look good. Looking good. Obviously, State Representative Barrero, known him a long time. His state house district actually comes over to Collier County where I live. So we've known each other a long time, and I know you only got 2 years left, but let me assure you, we're gonna put that to work. We're gonna get that done. She slipped in the back, but we have State Representative Meg Weinberger is here. She slipped in. We have State Representative Tom Fabrizio is with us. State Representative Hillary Cassell. Hillary, great to see you. Thank you for being here. And State Representative Juan Porras. Juan, thank you so much for being here. So let me start here. In Florida, we have a major task ahead of us. In our schools right now, we have about 4 million students, wherever they've chosen to be because of universal school choice, which Governor DeSantis and the legislature made the law of the land in Florida. And we are grateful for the governor's service, his leadership, and making sure that our children, and most importantly, our parents, are at the head of the table when it comes to education in Florida. We salute the governor for his leadership. But now that we have those 4 million, it's about where are they going to go? See, I graduated from Florida State. Woo-hoo! I'm a gnome. I also went to FAMU my first 3 years when I was here in Florida. I went to FAMU. I'm the highest of 7 hills. The degree I sought was finance and marketing, and it panned out. But I had so many of my peers who I know now, looking back over the years, they went and they got a degree in something that they actually don't do in their normal everyday life. And so what that experience showed me and showed so many people that have been through the college or university system is that it's not just about the piece of paper that you get when you walk across that university stage. It is about the skill sets, it is about the credentials, it's about the apprenticeships and the internships along the way. And we also know that there are many ways to be successful in Florida. As I travel the state, there are a lot of business owners that never went to college or dropped out. Right there, didn't go. Business owner, how's business? I guess business was good. He's retired. But there's many ways to be successful. We have seen that, and we need to recognize that as we move forward to continue to challenge and adjust and modernize the landscape of educating our kids. So with that, today we are announcing one of our goals, one of our policy frameworks called Launchpad. Launchpad will expand industry-led zero tuition training programs in construction, space trades, and skilled trades, funded by tax credits, building Florida's next generation when it comes to young people being in these important industries, whether that's building roads or building rockets. This is essential for the future of our state. Right now in Florida, in the construction industry alone, there are somewhere over 400,000 jobs that are open today in 2025. We have 5 skilled workers who are retiring, and they're only being replaced by 1 worker, by 1. And this isn't just menial labor and work. You have people going into the trades making $28, $30, $35, $40 an hour, if not more. If you're a skilled trade, you want to be a welder, they're making 6 figures. Plumbers going on their way to making 6 figures, and so many other career paths. I was just in the other room, they were giving me a tutorial of a VR training simulator to be an electrician on a space station. Craziest thing ever. I had to open the airlock in VR. But being able to train people and help them achieve the skill set that they need so they can hit the ground running in their life, that's not just an important goal. That's the very foundation of why we educate people and why the state of Florida has always led the way in making sure our young people were prepared for their future. Launchpad is going to be driven by industry, not by government. We're not just going to hear from you guys the jobs that you're looking for, and then in Career Source or in any other industry, it's tied up in bureaucracy or hoping that there's some appropriation or hoping that the school district decides to open up a lab. We want business and industry to lead the way. Employers will identify the high demand fields, and Florida will respond by building the partnerships and the pathways needed to meet those needs. Together, they develop a success plan that guides students towards a career, hopefully with a zero tuition outcome. That's what this is about. Some might say, well, that's pretty ambitious. Well, we're the best state in America. Why not be ambitious? And the last thing I want to say is this, and then we'll open it up for questions from anybody. But our entire purpose, our entire philosophy behind Launchpad and the other parts of our policy that we're going to be launching over the next several weeks across the great state of Florida is that whether you're a kid who wants to build roads or rockets, or to be a nurse, or the next Elon Musk, Florida is going to meet you where you are and get them where they need to go, debt-free, if we can help it. So I just want to thank everybody for being out here today. We are excited about Launchpad and what that's going to do. Also be ready, there's going to be many more announcements about other policy frameworks for not just a campaign, but this is for the future of Florida. My job in asking to be your next governor is to protect the Florida dream that we all love and to make sure that that Florida dream is alive and well for the future of our state and for the young people who are learning every single day here, trying to build their Florida dream the way so many of us have been blessed to build our Florida dream. Thank you, guys.
Can I just say something before we start questions?
He wants to interrupt me. Go ahead.
Thank you, Congressman. That was amazing. I neglected two things. I do want to recognize my ABC leadership. I have a bunch of board members that are behind me in the audience. If you just raise your hand, I want to thank you for your leadership with this great organization. And I really want to thank my staff that put this together in record time. You guys are amazing. You did a great job. And I'm very grateful. All right, now questions.
And by the way, to the staff, you did a great job, staff. I really thank you guys. I'm gonna come to you in a second. I think one thing, and the members here know, obviously the board members of ABC know, there are a lot of people who do the heavy lifting, not just for these events, but when it comes time to execute the plans that we have. And we can't get that done without the great staff that helps us all get there. So thank you guys. Seriously. Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, 1, 2. We'll go him first and you second.
First of all, thank you very much for being here. I'm one of the members of the Palm Beach Young Republicans. And not only do I want to thank you for this initiative, which I think is great, but the question that I'd like to ask is, with so many people moving to the free state of Florida, and obviously the attractiveness of being here, how do you plan to not only expand Florida's capabilities and bring all these people in, but also making sure that we have some costs that are somewhat maintained for those struggling families as well?
This is a great question. This is something that everybody's struggling with. I'll repeat it for those who didn't hear it. The question essentially is, how do we essentially build out the future of Florida, the infrastructure, the housing that we need, while balancing the costs that people are having to deal with? And not just balancing the costs, I'll add one more, balancing our environment. Because Florida is just really, we're an everything state. We do it all here. Last week, I was at a dairy farm up in Gilchrist County. I was in Gilchrist County at a dairy farm. I've been to a couple of our, we used to call them slaughterhouses. Now we call them meat houses now. I'm gonna get in trouble on that one, but who cares? We all know where it comes from, folks. We all know where it comes from. And so I will tell you, each aspect of Florida is important. Specific to your question, how are we gonna bring the two together? This is where regional planning is important for the future of our state. Our state, for a myriad of reasons, has never really had a durable regional growth plan. Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County is the Southeast region. If you talk to the owner of the Dolphins, Mr. Ross, he calls it the Gold Coast. To everybody else around the world, it's South Florida. But this region of the state needs a growth plan. Where are you gonna put the entry-level housing For a lot of employees just getting their start in life, young kids coming out of college, trying to figure out how they're going to start their families and build their families. What are you going to do about future industry and where that's going to go? I got a better one for you. Forget housing and commercial. Where are you going to put the roads and the necessary infrastructure? What about our firefighters? Where are their substations going to go? Where do the police substations need to go? Because law and order and public safety are critical to our state. I think we do it, one, by having a robust plan of how this is going to look, not just over the next 4 years, but over the next 30 years. We have to be able to plan strategically because, look, we're the best state in America. People are going to come. I know there are those who want to build a wall. On the southern border, 100%, build a wall. I voted for it. But between Florida and Georgia, that's unconstitutional. Just is. So people are going to choose our state because New York sucks. And I'm allowed to say that because I was born and raised there. So I'm allowed to say it. Illinois is terrible. And California actually used to be the place where people would launch their dreams. It used to be. And it's now become a California nightmare. So they are going to choose our state. So we have to have a robust plan of how all this comes together. The second thing, we are going to modernize state and local government, top to bottom. It can't take 2 years to put a shovel in the ground in our state. It can't take 2 years. And people have to understand this. And this is important for the citizens of Florida. If your primary concern is affordability, let me tell you something. 30% of the cost of a new home is government costs. Not plywood, not shingles, not pipes, not sheetrock, government. That's obscene. The average house is what, $350 in our state? Let's call it $300. So 30% of the cost, $100,000, is government costs? That's insanity. We have to leverage technology and we have to modernize our state so we can compress those governmental costs when it comes to delivering the affordable housing that so many are looking for in our state, or to build out the road systems that we need in our state. I'll give you another example. I was talking to a road contractor. He wants to build an interchange off the turnpike. You know what he told me? He said it would take me about 1.5 years to build out the interchange. Okay, seems right. He could have done the engineering in 8 months. Florida Department of Transportation says, no, we'll do it, but it takes 3 years. So 3 years for engineering, 1.5 years to 2 years for construction. So I'm gonna get an interchange off the turnpike in 5 years, an interchange I needed last year. We have to be more efficient. And being more efficient and Florida's government moving at the speed of business actually helps to lower costs. And it drives it down on the people who want to make sure that they can afford the Florida dream for themselves. Yes, sir.
Would you support a joint resolution on Congresswoman Surface with Byron Donalds, Swalwell, and Gonzalez to expel all of these?
You said a joint resolution on all of them at once? No, I think what's going to happen, you can't do that at once. What's going to happen is it's going to be one at a time. I think the two that are definitely teed up this week, from what I hear, are on Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez. I said yesterday on Meet the Press that yes, I would vote to expel them. The ethics committee last week we were in DC, actually came out with the findings on Representative McCormick. And based upon everything that the ethics committee reported out, yes, I think if they came to the floor, I would vote for expulsion. On Representative Mills, he's actually in the middle of the ethics investigation right now. And I think it's important that that finishes before any further judgment is rendered. Yes, sir.
Launchpad.
Yes.
Great idea, everything else, but realistically, there won't be a time frame up here where that actually will actualize and realize.
Wait, say that again?
Launchpad.
Yes.
Free tuition.
Yes.
How many years out would that be actually for everything went by? How soon would that be?
This is a policy initiative that we're going to be working with the legislature in year one. We're also going to utilize powers of the governor's office to go back and look at the current task force on this and realign them to make implementation smooth. We would anticipate somewhere between 18 and 24 months we'd be up and running. But I really want to move a lot faster than that, because every month that a child loses, he can never get back. She can never get back. So just broadly speaking, we're gonna move stuff through legislative session next year, and then we'll go from there, and then we'll work concurrently with the legislature to make the necessary internal adjustments in the state of Florida. Yes, sir. I'm gonna go to you, sir, then I'm gonna come to you, ma'am, then I'm gonna come to you. Then I'm gonna go to you.
So, Arizona is the only mainland state that doesn't change the hour.
That doesn't change the, daylight savings. Oh, okay, all right, go ahead.
So if you become governor, will you be able to do the same? Just fix the hour here?
Yeah, I think it's time. We could just act on our own. We don't really need the other guys. The daylight savings thing is a very interesting conversation on Capitol Hill, because for the members that live on the western side of each time zone, they say for them it causes some issues, but we're Florida. We don't have to be worried about them. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for coming. Byron Donalds, I grew up in the state of Florida, and I'm a TSA cleared security officer for the state of Florida as well. What are we going to do about the problems we have in the school board system? Okay, Broward County Schools has really got a problem.
You want to describe them in more detail for me?
Well, for one, they're shortchanging our students in school. For one, I agree with ABC, we need SHOP. When I went to school in Coral Springs, I also helped design Coral Springs Drive and Sample Road when I was in Coral Springs High School. Okay. Your infrastructure is very important, but ABC has a great, we need SHOP put back in schools.
I agree.
We need art, we need chorus and music put back in as well. These are the ones that I took going to school. We had guidance counselors at schools. We had everybody had to stand for the flag, but the most important, I took shop and computers the whole time I was in middle school through high school. Shop is a great advancement. It gives a child a dream and it gives them a career. Shop is so important in school.
I'm not trying to cut you off,
That's what I wanted to know.
but I'm gonna welcome some young people. Y'all come on. Come on. But I'm gonna come back to your question. I'm not done. So real quick, so your issue, you're not just about Broward County schools, but all school districts. Look, I want to be clear. We are going to be working very closely with the school districts. The standard to me that matters is twofold. Can our kids read, write, and do math? Can they master this? That's going to be the goal for every school district in the state. The second goal is making sure that our young people have the credentials or the apprenticeships or the ability so that when they get that high school diploma, they can put real money on the table after high school graduation. And so what that encompasses, if it's shop, home ec, the other items that are necessary, that's what we're going to do. If it's changes to the school grading system, that's what we're going to do. But these are the things that we have to do. The whole purpose of education, the reason why we have this grand experiment the last 100+ years, originally was to take kids out of the fields and put them into the factories. That was the original purpose of public education in the United States. Today, our K-12 system in particular has to be able to take kids from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all types of family dynamics, and prepare them for the information age. And prepare them so that when they graduate high school, notice I'm not talking about college, university. I'm gonna deal with them later.
Right.
They have to be able to hit the ground running coming out of high school. That needs to be the focus. 90% of our kids filling out a FAFSA doesn't matter if 50% of our kids aren't doing math and reading and writing on grade level, and they have no pathway to put food on the table for themselves. How do you expect an 18-year-old boy to become a man, find a girl, get married, and have kids if he doesn't even have the skills to put food on the table for himself and he's asking his mom? That's the stuff that we're going to be working on.
I agree.
Yes, ma'am. And that's not let's just be clear. Boys have to be prepared to be men, because male leadership, not just in Florida, but in the country, is critical. If you want to continue this grand experiment of America for another 250 years, it starts with families. And that starts with fathers in homes being men, raising their kids, putting food on the table, being responsible.
There are approximately 9.5 million people living in HOAs and condos.
Yes,
And the law favors the management companies.
yes.
What will you do to help these residents who are at the mercy of these thugs who financially rape them on a daily basis and there is nowhere for us to turn to? The DBPR needs to be redone completely because they're hopeless. What will you do to help us?
One, yes, you're correct. DBPR is going to have to be redone when it comes to HOA and condo management. I know, and the author of the bill is actually here to let a lot of us. So yes, it does need to be reformed. We're going to make sure we spearhead that. The second thing is, and all associations are not the same, but in Florida law, they're all generally the same. We're going to have to figure out how to separate the wheat from the chaff. Here's the truth. There are some people who are going to want to keep their associations. Okay, that's fine. There are some associations, I used to live in one. It's also a reason why I don't live in one anymore, because I like being able to just do what I want. But there are other associations where a lot of the common area that was promised at the beginning of the development is no longer kept up. It's mostly limited. And so in those situations, I think it's important for those residents to be able to do what they need to do. The biggest thing we're going to have to cross, and I'm going to have Juan come over and talk about this in a second. The biggest thing we're going to have to make sure we cross and manage, if there's a dispute in a condo building, let's say all the unit owners on the 8th floor are pissed with one person who parties too much on the 9th floor. How do you adjudicate that? How do you manage that? And so it's some of those things that we're going to have to make sure as we work on this issue to give people true relief from some of these associations. I'm just telling you, that's the stuff I think about. But I'm going to have Juan come over here because that's the author of the bill. And I want him to come and speak on it. Because we're going to work on this again, so I want him to come over and speak on it.
Which is extremely important.
Thank you.
The most important thing for residents, and I'm speaking from experience because I've been investigating our community for the last 3 years, and on the evidence that I've gathered, they're now under investigation. But what I want to make clear, how residents struggle to get documents which they're entitled to, official records, and there is nowhere to help, no one to help them. So I'm so glad you're here and you can answer.
Yes, so thank you, Congressman, for giving me a minute, and thank you for that super important question. I think the HOA condo issue goes hand in hand with the affordability crisis I think that our state is coming to. So it's so important that, we work with Congressman Donalds when he gets to the governor's mansion and make sure we get that relief for all homeowners. We did have legislation pass the Florida House, if you didn't know, this year, HB 657, which would have not only included a community association court program so that homeowners like yourself and others have that opportunity to take their issues to court or have somewhere an avenue to take their issues, because as we all know, and as Congressman Donald said, as you guys said, DBPR does not work. DBPR is not a functioning agency when it comes to condos and HOAs. I represent some of the largest HOAs and condos in the state of Florida. I represent part of Southwest Miami-Dade. The Hammocks, which if any of you know the Hammocks, was the largest HOA crime bust, I think, in our state's history. Yes, so I promise you, with our House's leadership, with me, with Congressman Donalds in the governor's office, we're going to continue working on that legislation and make sure that homeowners get the relief that they are much needed. So thank you again, Congressman. Thank you for that awesome question. I promise I didn't pay her to be here.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. I got the lady right there. I know you had your hand. Yes, ma'am.
Shouldn't our legislature be pursuing redistricting right now, and are you concerned it's going to make your colleagues run the public seats more competitive?
The question's about redistricting. Should the Florida legislature pursue it right now? Yes.
Why?
Because let's be very clear. What's been happening all around the country is that you see this battle over apportionment and how the House of Representatives, where I serve currently, is going to be managed. You have California and Virginia responding to Texas, and we've been watching all this kind of happen in Florida. And because of what now has been done in Virginia, now Florida needs to respond. You have Abigail Spanberger, who came in running as a moderate is coming in, and then she's basically changed Virginia's maps overnight. I know pending a vote of the citizens, we'll see what happens in Virginia, to go from, I think it's a 6-5 map, Democrat to Republican, to a 10-1 map overnight. So I think Governor DeSantis and the legislature are well within their rights and ability to redistrict Florida. Let me also add, we still believe in Florida that the last census was not done the best. If you're going to tell me that it was, I think, 131 residents who were counted in New York, now meant that New York kept a congressional district that quite frankly should be in Florida anyway, I just don't believe that. I never will, and we'll see what happens as we move to the next census. But that being said, I think the governor and the legislature are well within their rights to redistrict the state, and I support them in this.
What about the Fair Districts Amendment? I mean, if it's about.
I'm quite sure the governor and the legislature are going to comply with fair districts like they always have.
Congressman, good morning. I wanted to ask you about the actions of President Trump in the United States Navy with Iranian ports,
with the blockade.
Entering illegal blockade the Strait of Hormuz. I wanted to get your reaction on that.
Well, I think the president's move to do a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz is correct. Because what is happening right now is that the Iranians basically had full control, and they were only allowing through a handful of ships that were to their benefit, i.e., stuff for the Chinese. And so if they're going to use the Strait as an economic terror weapon against the entire world, then we're just going to cut that off. And then hopefully we can go back to the negotiation table to get something done. So I think the president is doing the right thing. And let me also state this for the record. I know we have many people, including in Florida, who are concerned about a never-ending war in the Middle East again. Knowing President Trump, knowing Secretary Rubio, that is not the goals and the aims that they have. This is very different from the Bush administration and that whole team there, very different team. So I think what you're going to see, they're going to do the blockade. Hopefully that the ceasefire holds around the blockade, and we'll see what goes back to the negotiating table. I will also add, what came out of the negotiations, as I understand it, is that the Iranians said that their nuclear material is not up for debate. Yeah, it's, oh yeah. I mean, look, the Iranians, by the way, this is important people understand. When Obama did the JCPOA, he gave the Iranians $150 billion with a pretty please promise not to enrich nuclear material. Not only did they take the $150 billion, but they lied to the entire world about the enrichment. So they've enriched well past 3 to 5%, which is what you need for energy production. Some is in the 20s, some is in the 50s. It is now enriched towards nuclear grade uranium material. They're crazy. That is a crazy, crazy regime. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And I agree with the president. I got time for two more, and then we'll wrap. Yeah.
It's still one of the biggest issues in Florida and around the country.
Yeah.
You've been accused of wanting a pathway to citizenship for illegal aliens. How do you respond to that, and what exactly is your position on that? Do you support deporting all illegals?
My response is, I've never supported a pathway to citizenship. I know the video that people are referring to. I did an interview with CPAC back in 2021. This is before Joe Biden let in more than 10 million illegal aliens into the United States. And the question was about how do we actually bring immigration into common sense reality today? And I said, you have to start with border security. You have to start with security first, secure the border, get that done. The second thing you have to do is go through reforms of the visa system. H-1B visas, they gotta go. They've been abusing American workers. There's so many reforms in the visa process that are needed because this stuff was written in the 80s, not today. And so it all has to be reformed. The third thing was following the 9/11 Commission's review and saying that we have to have a biometric exit system. We have a biometric entry system in the United States. We still don't have a biometric exit system. That has to be done. Then I said, we have to make sure we end chain migration. We should go back to a quota system in immigration because the United States has to be able to assimilate people coming into the country. If you have workers who are using visas to come in, we got to be able to take stock of that, assimilate them into our way of life. The sixth thing I said was we need to end birthright citizenship. This is actually before the court right now. Birthright citizenship, in my view, is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment. because that was for black slaves. The 14th Amendment was written for the children of black slaves in order to give them citizenship in a country that had denied them and treated them, obviously, they were slaves, as slave labor. That's the purpose of the 14th, and all of the debates leading up to the 14th Amendment support that position. What the United States has done in practice, not by law, not by constitution, is that if you're just born in the United States, you've been granted citizenship. But let me explain what this means to people. The Chinese government has over 500 birth tourism companies where they have Chinese foreign nationals who basically come over on a tourist visa, give birth in the United States. The baby is now a US citizen under the way it's looked at, and then they go back to China. And then that child who has citizenship has the ability to come into the United States at any given point in time. The parents don't have allegiance to the United States. The parents are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, but the children are now somehow citizens. That's crazy. And that's what current interpretation does. So these are all the things I talked about in this video. And then at the end of it, I said, and then once all that is done, the American people are good people. You would probably have a debate on what to do with everybody who's still here. But that's the end, not the beginning. The Democrats, what they want is to do a pathway to citizenship up front. I will never support that, ever. That's amnesty, and it's wrong. And by the way, that's what happened in 1986 when they did the immigration deal that Ronald Reagan did amnesty for 3 million illegals at the time. And the promise was they do border security and immigration enforcement. And the wall never got built. So we've tried this before. So my position is get all the stuff done. Then you can talk about who's still here. 100% I support deporting illegals. I supported Donald Trump. I support it today. What Governor DeSantis is doing today with members of law enforcement all being under the 287G program, I support that as well. And we're going to continue that because what has now happened for 5 years after that interview that I did back in 2021, what has now happened is the Biden administration was flagrant in border security and internal enforcement. And now we have Democrats who are stonewalling funding border agents, customs agents, and immigration agents. The Democrats defunded policy that would actually allow for ICE to investigate child sex trafficking rings. That's funded under ICE, and they have stopped that funding. That is insane to me. So I just think that these are the things that we have to be focused on. But to your point, look, Javi, I get it. It's campaigns. A lot of guys are losing. They're losing big, I'm just telling you. A lot of guys are losing, and so they're trying to go back and find my words from some interview and splice splice everything together into some 30-second soundbite to make it seem like I support amnesty. I have a 100% rating from Numbers USA for my 6 years in Congress. It's just a flat-out lie because we have people who are losing in their campaign efforts. And so what are they going to do? Well, I know what they're going to do. In a couple of months, they're going to lose and everybody will forget about it. All right. Well, hold on.
They spliced his video and made his words seem different.
My words get spliced all the time, you know.
Right.
They act like Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes. That's what they like to do. All right, sir. You're right there. Last question.
Question is, particularly with the opinion of Governor DeSantis and Governor Scott, with what they've done in the past, like with the animal policy in your county, they spent $2 million to make the animals be able to go underneath alligator out. And for 12 crossings, 167,000 per crossing. Compare that to California that spent $100 million to try to get one crossing line that hasn't been done yet. And then taking the same theory with the Bright Line where Florida spent $2 billion to do 171 miles of the rail system versus California that has spent over $35 billion. And they have to do the first leg of 171 miles. I mean, keeping that, we're keeping our taxes, no income tax here. We don't want that, what's going on in California. I know you'll do a good job. I know you'll keep
Thank you.
DeSantis' theme as Governor Scott's theme of keeping, managing our tax dollars.
Yes.
Right, that's the most.
So for people who are trying to make sure they understood it, he was doing a comparison of the animal crossings that we built in Everglades Restoration when we raised Tamiami Trail to what California did with that one bridge that they still haven't finished and spent twice the money. And also the fact that, with their rail system, they spent way more money, can't build anything. Let me just be very clear. The reason why California is a terrible, terrible state is because they don't use common sense and they have people that have never been in business and don't know how to just execute a mission. I spent 17 years in the finance world before politics. 17 years. That was my business. And in that world, if you don't know how to get something done, you're going to be fired. You ain't going to last long. So my commitment is that our state is going to be very efficient with the resources that the people of Florida have given us. The same way it was under Governor DeSantis, the same way it was under Governor Scott. The people of Florida demand no less and expect no less. Your government is going to be responsible and ruthlessly efficient with the dollars that you trust us with. Thank you, everybody.